Hello, welcome to another episode of AchromatiCraft. If you didn't see the last episode, we kind of got this industrial area of our cyberpunk area done, and I've just been hanging out with, I don't know, Mr. Duck, our forklift driver. I don't know if he's really doing much, but in the last episode, we got quite a bit done here on the backside of this building. We got our power generator, we got a bunch of trucks, we got some forklifts, putting pallets on trucks. And what I realized is as I kept flying back over here to where our storage room is, I realized, you know what? In this area, I never finished it. I never got anything put on this hill, nothing here. And I've got a whole bunch of things marked out in wool that I've never done anything with. So it's almost like we have one side of the city over there and the farming area over here, and never really got the two areas connected. Now, I'm really liking what we're doing in the cyberpunk area over there, but I feel like today I just want to do a quick little build because I want to get this looking better. Now, if I remember right, each one of these wool portions was supposed to be like a little platform, and this was supposed to be a crane. So this was a naturally generated, what would you call it? Ravine, I guess. And it kind of goes down to a cave system that you can see over here. And I thought that was really cool if I just decorated this out, make it look like it's a quarry. This would be a big crane that's pulling up stuff. And then all of these white ones over here would just be where they were stacking them. So they'd pull it up, stack it, and then it would get shipped off to all the rest of the cities. So this should be a fairly easy build because I've already got a lot of the idea marked out from, oh man, I don't know, 6-7 months ago, or maybe it's actually been closer to a year because we were out in the sand district. So this one's been on the list for a while. Let's knock it out today and see if we can make this transition from our farming area to our original medieval village a little bit smoother. So let's jump in. Okay, and to get this project started, I went out, grabbed a whole bunch of materials. Now I think we've got more than we're going to need, but I thought, let's get this whole thing done at once instead of going back and forth to the storage room. And as I was doing that, I realized these guys make so many different sounds. Yep, there you go. So they just keep making those sounds while I'm in the area. And I don't know if this is going to be, well, I know it's not going to be their final staying place. Wow, I almost sound like I was going to kill them. But we're going to move these guys all over to a different spot. Let's see if we can get them. Come on. Oh, there's the last one. Perfect. So we'll put them in a spot. Now, this is a whole separate project I hadn't thought about, but I would love to have them, I don't know, somewhere in the city. We've got bees. We've got all these different fields, and we've got horses over there. So maybe at some point we're going to do something with these llamas. I don't know. I was originally thinking it would be cool to kind of have them. Oh, I guess I got to push shift. Kind of as transportation. And that was kind of cool at one spot because these are all 9. Oh man, did I get all of them at 9? Oh, maybe that's the default or pretty close. They don't have the extended. But the idea is that I'd use them for shulkers, move them around. But we got a whole bunch of shulkers, so that idea is kind of dead. But now we can get to the project. We've cleared them out. And I think what I'm going to do is start by figuring out if I want these to be either like a crate type thing, where like maybe it looks like a forklift can come underneath it. Or maybe I just build like a platform and then the stuff's on the platform. I don't know. Let's build a few and see which one we're liking. So this first one, we're going to use our crimson stairs here. And if you don't know, I've retextured all of this to be grayscale because there wasn't any grayscale wood in the game. Now crimson, or what's it called? The new moss. Man, why am I blanking on what it's called? But that's kind of a white wood. So I think we'll keep this gray wood for a while. But what I want to see is if we put something like this in, is this going to look like too big of a crate? Like it would collapse if we put actual stones on it. But the idea would be that kind of in the middle, and maybe we do that. Let's just test this out a little bit. and we'll kind of put this in. Now, obviously I'd put a little base on it, but the idea is that maybe like this is all sitting up on top of it, or I kind of had an idea, and this is going to take me a second here. Okay, and getting this last one in, the idea with this side would be that it would kind of be that same fullness, or at least the same shape. But as I'm looking at the two, that almost feels like it's way too permanent. And I don't know that they would do that. It feels like it's something like this, but I wonder if maybe what I need to do, and let's maybe, I don't know, take some from the back side while we evaluate this, is maybe what this needs to be is almost a piece here. So it looks like it's a little bit more hefty duty, and maybe there's even one there. Yeah, so that way it looks like a forklift scoop can go under there. I don't know my forklift terms, but I think that makes a lot more sense because it looks like it's a little, I don't know, less permanent and more like they just hauled it up. That way we can get kind of some of these blocks coming out to the side. Yep, okay, I'm sold. That's what we're going to do. And I think that's going to be perfect because then what we can do is this crane can be almost pulling up that exact same thing. And that'll make a lot more sense, like it's pulling it up, putting it over, and putting it right down on the ground. Perfect, that works. So that's pretty simple. So I'm going to knock that out and we're going to get what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these in. Yeah, let me do that and we'll see how it's looking. All right, and pretty quick, I think we got there. I mean, these platforms weren't that hard to put together, and I started having this idea of what if each of them had their own stone on there. So not each one is the same. Oh, and it looks like I still have one available over there. But the idea was that each of these kind of contained its own stone. And now that I'm saying that, I wonder if I take like some of these shulker boxes, and let's grab that out here. And I wonder if I just stick, and maybe we'll do a different color. Maybe we dig it into the ground. Maybe it goes up there. But maybe this becomes my stone storage. Huh. I kind of like that idea. Because then I could come in here, grab what I need to. We could make the shulker boxes the white, or if it was a gray, or a darker one. So at least blend it in a little. Oh man, guys, I think that is the best idea I've had today. That's going to work out great, I think. Now, the next thing I'm trying to figure out is, do I put a little bit of a trapdoor situation here so it feels like there's something holding them so they're not just going to slip off the side? So the idea would be that that kind of holds it in. We do it all the way around. I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, I think it needs that. I think it's going to add that little bit of extra detail where this almost just feels like we plunked whatever stone on top of it, but this feels like maybe it's actually holding it in. Perfect. All right, that's it. That's what we're going to do. But the other thing I've got to figure out is these almost feel like they're just plunked on the ground. And I'm not sure, like, if this is our road, should we make it so the road goes under there? Or is that going to make this all feel a little too much? Huh. Let's get out our rockets here for a second and maybe go see if we can get some inspiration. Because what I was starting to think about is over here a long time ago, we did these secondary paths where this was kind of the primary type of path, but there'd be this secondary, which would be a little bit more of the cobble and the tuff, or there was like this tertiary, which was really a dark one, and it kind of blended in, but at least you knew the difference between the grass and like that stall. Huh. All right, guess what? We're going to do one of these and one of those, see which one we like, and then we're going to roll with it. Because of what I really want this to do is look like it's an area that's been worked on. And yeah, this view is so much better. Just having some details down here. Now, we're going to put the crane in next after we kind of get these details. But I think we're also going to have to figure out what else can we put in here. Are there smaller little machines that are helping do something? Because I don't want it to just look like a bunch of piles. Yeah, we've got plenty to explore. So let's sleep. The night's going away. I'm going to put those edges on and then we will get to the crane here. Have you ever done kind of your first thought of what you wanted to do? You look at it and you say, yep, I'm not even going to try the other one. I think what's going on here is exactly what I want to do. I wanted this area to feel like maybe it was banged up, like these had been, I don't know, drug around or moved a whole bunch of times. And I think that's what we get, but we don't lose like where the boundary of the road is. And I think that was kind of the critical thing that I wanted to look at here is just making sure that this had that texture to it, but we didn't all of a sudden, I don't know, just have like a gray blob here. So I think it's going to be pretty nice, especially when we get under here, the rest of it, because we're going to have still this nice road that the rest of the area has, but also have that texture. Perfect. So we're going to do that. I'm going to get that cleaned up here real quick. And then you'll notice in my hotbar here that I have some dispensers. Now, one of the things that I noticed is that I can actually put a dispenser down and put other shulkers, other things inside of here. So instead of just having a shulker that can only hold up to 27 stacks, we can actually put 9 shulkers in here. So I think that's going to be a really fun way of just sticking this in here. It's going to look, and let's see if there's a blank spot here. For the most part, you're not going to notice it too much in here because it's going to be just under there, but we can easily come in, grab our inventory, and off we go. I think that's a pretty fun little solution, and it gets us 9 shulkers worth of storage. Okay, that's it. Let's get busy, get this decorated, and then I got to get to that crane. I keep saying we're going to get to it. Gonna do this decorating by myself, then we'll get to it. For sure, we're starting this in the next clip. All right, let's go. All right, and we got that all in, and I think it's looking awesome. I was a little worried that it would blend into the ground, but I think it's gonna look pretty good. Now, when we add some little trees and bushes and stuff, I think it'll even go a lot better. But as you can see, we got that in, and I actually thought this side was looking kind of boring. So we might actually do 2 cranes, put one here, put one over there, because if we come around kind of to the sight lines here, what I was a little worried about is that as you can see that height, I don't know if we're going to go that high or maybe a little higher, but that kind of only gave us height on one side. And even though we have that in the background, I thought, what if we just had a little crane here? I think that's going to provide a little bit better excitement and is going to make those sight lines a lot better. Now, I also noticed this road is a little skimpy, so we might widen this out too, but we'll do all that offline. It is time to get busy. We're going to start building this crane. Now, the one thing to think about when you're building a crane, or I guess anything, is what kind of textures are around, especially in a grayscale world. As you can see, we don't have a lot of colors. So one thing we have to think about is like what texture, like these are very heavy textures, but we don't want this to just blend in. So what we're actually going to do is come in and, oh, I've already got some of those. That's great. I'm only going to make maybe half a stack of those. Oh, let's get some walls. I don't know how many. We'll just make 16. That's a good number. Sure. Oh, we have some of those, but let's make, I don't know, some stairs as well. Because what I'm really trying to start to think is if we come through here, is kind of where's this center? So that's the center there. And as we start building out, what I'm trying to think of is what's a sturdy enough base but doesn't look too chunky. So maybe it's something like that. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll try like a smaller color on the inside. Because what I want to do is look like a base. And this is where sometimes I like to stick a little extra out the sides. Because as you can see, it looks a little bit better. And then if we go up here and go straight up, at least this will look like it's pretty well anchored. So we'll play a little bit, like does this go up even more? Yeah, probably. This is where I'm glad I got that scaffolding, because then what we want to do is find a way of making it look tapered. Let's see how that's gonna look. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good, because we want it to be chunky enough. And as you can see, instead of putting like blocks here, that makes it look a little too square. And so that's where I kind of built those walls. Now where did I stick them? There they are. Now the idea with walls and why I did them a different color is it's going to give kind of that rounding effect, which I think is pretty cool, but it's also going to give us some color contrast so it doesn't look like one blob. And that's the benefit of these two blocks being almost the same texture, is we get the color difference, but it doesn't feel like the pattern changed. So I think that's going to be a pretty good base for us. The next thing we need to do is, I'm glad I got the scaffolding up because we're going to have to figure out how high we want to go. But I'm going to build the trunk and then kind of the crane part that goes out, and then we'll add some details. All right, phase 1, and this thing looks pretty crazy. I don't know, are we going the right direction? I sure hope so, because I think this is the right scale for this area. Now what I'm looking at now is like, where can we add some details? So the idea here is that this is going to be kind of a counterweight, because what's coming up here is super heavy. My thought was is that this is somehow going to have a counterweight on it. Have to figure out what that looks like. But what we can start doing is kind of adding some of these details in here. Let's go up just a bit higher so I can jump on here. And I think what we're going to do is kind of put like a little extra rail on here. Yeah, I think that's going to look good. Let's fly down here and look. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was wondering if I needed to put one out the front. I think I do. And I think we need to add some kind of a support or something here. But I think we're getting kind of the shape we want. Now it's really just adding those details. So I'm going to go through and look at like, how can we, I don't know, maybe put some chains on here, make it really feel like this thing is supporting it. Because right now it's a little on the weak side. So I'm going to add those details. Then we're going to make the chain that goes down. And that's one thing we're going to have to make a decision on. Do we make the chain go all the way down because it's pulling something from there? Or do we put the platform up here because it just hauled some stuff up? Not sure on that one. So let me experiment with a few things and we're going to see if it's going to look good. All right, you ready for the big reveal? Here we go. All right, we got her done. I think so. Now there might be a few little tweaks. Like I'm wondering, is one little chain enough to pull up all that weight? I don't know. But you know, it's Minecraft, so we're going to say that that is a really strong chain. But what I wanted to do here, and this is something you have to think about when you're in grayscale, is if we made this like those darker trapdoors that I use in here, like you see over there, this is going to blend a little too much. So we went with the iron trapdoors, really to kind of like pull out that that is the machinery part here, and that the crane is kind of a different color, so that we could put that texture on and really kind of feel like this is pulling something up and we still get to see it. Now what I love about cranes, especially when you have low piles like this, is as you can see that adds a whole bunch of height to it without having to just put another tree or another big building. That gives us, let's come back here, a whole better sight line. You think about coming around here and seeing that, that's going to be awesome. That's going to draw you in. And I think as soon as we get the other one in over there, that's going to help. Now it's going to be a little bit smaller one, so I'll just do that off camera real quick. Need to do some cleanup here. As you can see, I pulled back the landscaping because it felt like it was a little too tight. This was up one block, and I figured if people are working here, they probably pulled that back. So I got to fix the landscape here. That won't be too big of a deal. But then I think we're going to call that an episode. I wanted kind of a quick, fun little build, and I think this was a good one to put in. So I'm going to get this one in. We'll do a little bit of the landscaping, and then that will be an episode. So let's get that done and see how it's looking. All right, that second crane is in. Now this one I didn't want to be pulling anything up. So right now it's not even hooked up at anything. But we're going to pretend that's not a thing right now. We'll just say that it's going down. and eventually we'll kind of decorate out there. I think it'd be a little better to actually do like maybe some guys working down there. Maybe there's some stone cutters, different things. I don't know, but we'll get to that. But lastly, the last thing I'm doing is, if you haven't seen this, this is my favorite way of doing grass in here. It's super bright, and then all of a sudden it's not. Ah, it's so satisfying. But we're just putting in kind of these last decorations. Now this portion, I'm still gonna try and figure out what we need to do here. Like, I thought maybe we'll put some scaffolding. Like, that's how you get up and down from there. But I think this was a pretty good start to making these two areas, from our farm area over to our medieval area, really blend out. So I think we've got that. I've got some last little cleanup that I need to do. I still haven't finished the trail over here, or getting the last of the grass in, or I guess fake grass. So we'll do that between episodes, because I think we got this all wrapped up and we have it complete. But y'all, that is going to do it for this episode. Let me know how else we could spruce up this area a little bit more. I think it's a pretty good start, but I think there's probably a few things that we could still be adding. So if you have any ideas, put them down in the comment. Until the next episode, we'll talk to you soon.